Hey guys, we're back at it again.
To start off, I just wanted to show you guys that we already put the NA in half, so it'll make a little bit more sense once I start explaining the rest of it.
So today I am working on a unit here. We got a NB Miata. So we actually ended up doing a complete body swap on these. I have the NB here and there's an NA sitting outside right now on a pallet along with the chassis sitting over there. What we did was we swapped the complete chassis of the NB chassis. We're going to be putting in the NA, and the NA chassis we're going to be putting in the NB, and he's getting rid of this car just because this one doesn't have a title and he wants one with a title so he can go and do street stuff and street drift and all that good stuff. So this one is going to be pretty much trashed when we're done with it, and then I'll be keeping actually the old drivetrain and stuff. This is the old NA drivetrain already. We already separated and swapped everything. This drivetrain here, it had a bad motor, super low compression on this one. So we're gonna probably just trash that one. I don't know, maybe I'll keep this engine because I will need an engine for my drift car that's sitting under all those parts right there. You can't tell, but there's an NB or an NA Miata right under there. So I might keep the engine, tranny, and of course the differential off this thing, because with drifting you get engines blown up, trannies and all that stuff all blown up. So this one probably only needs rings or something because the compression on this is pretty freaking low. Since the NB Miata is going to be, or drivetrain is going to be in the NA, all the wiring and everything else is going to be different. So what we're going to do with this one is we're actually going to see, I did a little bit of research, and this dashboard is pretty much the same as the NA. So we're going to pull this dash out along with the center console and everything like that. We're going to pull it out and put it into the NA. And I was just kind of looking at the two like firewalls and stuff, and it looks like even where the heater core where it pops through, it's about the same area. So I don't know if they use the actual same like firewall between one car and the other. It would kind of make sense since the engines are the same-ish, so it would make sense. Let's get started on that. Here, actually, you know what? Let me just show you the NA right now and what we did with the chassis, and I'll tell you, kind of explain that situation there. All right, so this is the NB chassis. It's got the coils here and everything like that. It was really super easy to get it all split. There's a couple studs here and here on the body, and then there was a bolt too. So it was just these three here, those three there, and then this thing pretty much dropped. All we had to do is, of course, just undo these and undo the brake line that actually went down to the block here, and also undid the emergency brake cables that went to each side. And then as for that, there was a wiring harness that went through here. We undid the entire harness and kept it with the body itself, and obviously unplug everything from the engine harness. And there was 4 bolts on each side, so one there, and then the 2 over here. I believe those were nuts, and 2 nuts right there up here too, along with that. And we had to undo the brake lines too for the fronts. That stayed with the body. We just kind of undid it at the calipers here. Other than that, this thing pretty much split. Oh, just kidding. And the starter wires, these hoses, the radiator obviously, and all that stuff. And then also had to open up the center console and clear all that out for that to drop. And the clutch cable, the little clutch line, actually undid that right here. We just undid it right at that little fitting. And then the fuel lines, and we also did the steering column right here. We had to pull that off, and that was it. Once it was split, this is how it came out. Just be careful, because the only thing holding the engine to that, pretty much this whole front end to that back end, is just the engine mounts. We had one of the engine mounts split on us, so that was kind of a pain in the ass. We had to deal with that. But this is the NA Miata that we're going to be using, and has a title. As you can see, this dash will go bye-bye. The other dash will be installed. Yeah, it's got some aftermarket coils on here as well. Both cars had coils on it. See there, that's what I was talking about. The actual heater thing is right there. And even the AC lines and stuff. I don't think you'd be running AC, but it's right there as well. But yeah, that's pretty much what we're looking at right now. I mean, these harnesses might be a little bit different too, so we might have to swap these, or at least cut them and then splice them to the original harness for the NB harness to this harness here. But yeah, this is just gonna be a drift car, fun little car. So same thing with this. I mean, we might have to, I don't know if they'll plug into the same wiper motors and stuff, but we'll find out, I guess, right? It's just a matter of doing. But yeah, let's get started. I'm pulling that dash. All right, for you, those of you that are wondering, there are a couple bolts on this side right here. You just take those little caps off. There's a couple bolts there. There's one bolt in the center right here, and there's two more bolts on this same section here, just on that side. This center part right here, there's a couple bolts on each side on there too. A couple bolts here, and there's in the back there, and underneath the column, you could see there's this little area right here. There's two studs that come out of the firewall, and there's a couple 12mm nuts too. Just, this is the steering column. Just follow the steering column down to where it mounts, and you'll see two 12mm nuts at the end. Undo those, and this should be able to push up and move out. And of course, if you want to, what I'm going to do is actually use this steering column, because since I'm using the entire drivetrain of the other one and this wiring harness and everything else, I am going to use this column as well, just so he still has like turn signals and, you know, the light switches and all that stuff. It's just going to plug and play, and what really he needs to worry about is the other end where the lights are and stuff. Hopefully those plug in. If not, then he's gonna have to rewire those to the other existing lights and those little things like that. So it make it a little bit easier on him, so he doesn't have to worry about anything on this side. And then as for this shroud that goes around this, all you have to do is kind of grab it, and then so you just got to tug on that. That just comes off in that little section right there. Undo these, unplug it, take that, get whatever harness, whatever the harness goes on here. I think it's like an airbag, and then if you have the HVAC stuff right there, unplug all that stuff. And I can't remember if these are, there might be some cables you have to pull off of like the vents and the doors and stuff from the HVAC to the actuators and doors and all that stuff, for the, you know, the vents and stuff. So that, and this thing should just pull out. Obviously these ones here I think come with the harness that's together. I don't know, just kind of look. If it's obvious it's connected to the firewall still, just unplug it. I mean, it's not rocket science. Know what I'm saying, boys? You got it. Okay guys, so now I have it pretty much off. As you can see here, there's a couple connectors I did have to undo. There's a big white one here that goes to the it's the main one. Just pull this little tab out like that and just pull it out. And then I also had to take the screws off the fuse box here, but there's just a couple Phillips. Pull them off, boom, done. And then the center console I had to remove as well. There's just a few screws that go under there, and then one there, and then under the window switches if you have an electric window. But yeah, pull that out, and I should have this out real soon. Got all the wiring out, but it wasn't that bad, but it took a couple hours. There is the dash. That was no big deal. It did have a hydro in there, so I had to undo all some of the lines on there and stuff. Also got the cluster, center console. This is what it looks like now. Had to pull up some of the carpet just because some of the wiring did come through the back there, and there was a harness that ran through here up and over. This, I'm gonna throw this away anyways. This whole thing's junk. So I just pulled it up. There's our big harness right here. Undid that, fished it through there, and then yeah, undid everything up there. Pulled the column out, pulled the entire thing out there. That wasn't really that hard to pull. It was just a couple of bolts here and there and over there and stuff like that. So it wasn't too bad. There's the column. And yeah, part of the harness came up through here, all the way up to the light, unplugged that. There was a bunch of little baby connectors I had to push through that hole right there. And then there was another one, another harness right there that you had to push through. And then another harness right there that you have to push through. It's the same harness, I should say, it just kind of piggybacks all over. But there was a couple connectors over here that you had to undo from the fuse box right there. Also, there was a ground right there and the light. So it wasn't that hard, honestly. Just took some time. you know. And I'm hoping the NA has the same exact plug on there. I'll probably just end up looking at it for the wipers and then plug it in. Hopefully it's the same. If not, then hopefully this doesn't look too hard to pull apart, but hopefully that will work. I don't know, but we'll see. So this is all done pretty much. We just got to push this out and then somehow get the body, which is that body, the NA body, back in here. And I'll start probably just with the interior stuff because I'm doing the engine swap on that chassis that's outside. My buddy's bringing another engine, so I'm swapping that in there. And I'll probably end up just doing that before I mount the chassis to the NA body, just because everything's going to be all exposed and I don't have to worry about, you know, trying to fight the transmission bolts and all that good stuff. So yeah, doing that. And then once that body is in here, I'm going to lift it up or put it on the rack here, install all the stuff that I took off today into that NA, and then hopefully they bolt up and it's not a huge pain in the butt, but we will see. All right, guys. So we pulled the NA in. Yesterday it was super sketchy. I should have recorded it. All we had was this motorcycle jack. We had that with a pallet on top of it, just kind of balancing underneath there. It was sketch, super sketch. But today's goal is to, or at least get started. I started ripping the dash part already, which the process of ripping this dash is honestly the same as the NB. So I ripped the dash out of it, and then all this stuff here I'm actually keeping so I could use on my drift car. So that's what I'm going to use, all that stuff. And then he's just giving me the NB with all the drivetrain, this old drivetrain that was in the NA. So I'll have an extra transmission, extra differential, axles, all kinds of stuff. So I'm just kind of rip them off, storage, and then put them in storage and stuff, just so I have all those extra parts and I don't have to worry if something breaks. I don't have to go out and search and find. And so that's what I'm doing with that. There's the old dash right there. So that's going to be going in that Miata that's right there that you can't see, but it's there. I promise you. See it right there? Whoop. But yeah, right now it looks like it just has a major lift kit on it. So I'm not mating these up together yet. Like I said, here's the engine that I'm going to actually have to put in this chassis. So right now I'm just kind of worrying about the wiring. I'm going to run everything out, finish up with the wiring, put the dash in. I'm waiting on some polyurethane engine mounts that he wants me to install once I do the engine. So like I said, that's just going to be there. To mate these two together, it doesn't take that long. Maybe get it done in an hour, if that, now that we know what we're doing. Yeah, just the little things here and there. That complete harness. This harness I'm just going to completely take apart. Like I'm probably just going to, the front harness, back harness, all that stuff. This is just going to be a shell. And I'm putting the NB harness into it. So yeah, let's just get started on pulling all the harnesses and stuff. And I'm hoping the fuel pump is the same because the connector looks the same. So maybe I'll have to look up pinouts on both of them. And then, I don't know. The NAs and the NBs, they are practically the same. I swear to you, everything, all the bolts that were on there were the same exact spots that I took on the NB. So I think they use the same floor pan and firewall and all that stuff. And they just pretty much just changed like the fenders, and obviously the front clip's different. I don't even know. Maybe the windshield's the same. Who knows? But yeah, I'm gonna get started on that. Hey guys, I'm getting the NB harness installed just right now. The NA harness, and I'm just pretty much cutting whenever I don't have to save that, so there's no reason to try to keep it so it doesn't, you know, maybe I'll cut off the connectors and try to keep the connectors just in case I ever need those for one of mine. But as for now, I'm just kind of left it all out, cut everything out, stored in the pile there, especially all the airbag stuff and all that junk I really don't need. So now I took pictures before when I pulled this harness off, just so I know the layout, because I'm not going to fight that. I don't really want to do that. So looking back at the pictures, I know exactly where I need to mount them, just like right there. And then from there, the harness goes up, over, and then all that, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, I'm not going to bore you with that, guys. But always take pictures, because you will forget. Always, 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 when it comes to taking apart engines, harnesses, whatever. And then label them too. Like this one, I put bolts labeled HVAC. Then I have one for the shifter / hydro, the dash cluster for the NB. Yeah, all that stuff. So always do that. It saves headache, makes it a little easier. Spend the extra like 10 seconds to write something on there and then start tucking them in there. But yeah, let's put this on. Hi guys, we're back at it again. Sorry about the eye, got something in it, don't know what it is. But I'm just kind of mocking up the dash in here. As you can see here, it fits up perfectly, it's nice. As for the mounting holes, down here, perfect. Like this is just a straight swap, guys, not gonna lie. The actual dash part anyways. I mean, if you were gonna just swap the dash in there, there is a forum online where you get to, they'll give you the wiring harness stuff that puts this into like the actual cluster itself. It'll tell you what wire goes to where to actually make it work to this new cluster. So all the HVAC stuff was able to just like bolt right in, no problem, just like the other NA stuff. So you don't have to worry about that. The other thing I'm going to use is the NB column, just because the turn signals and all that stuff should bolt into the NB column. So I'm gonna put that back in there. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Look at that. I'm gonna do a couple more things to it. I gotta hook up some of the connectors and stuff back behind it, along with the cables for the HVAC. And yeah, that should be pretty much where we're at right now. Now put that together, and then I gotta put this rear harness. This one goes from the engine bay down underneath, all through there, and then out to the back here, and then for the taillights as well. So once I put that in, he will have to wire up, unless he wants me to anyways, but wire up the tail lights to the NA tail lights, because I think the connectors are different where the bulbs are and stuff. But that's a later problem. We're waiting on some engine mounts for the new engine, so I will not mate these two together, the chassis and the body together yet, until those engine mounts are here, because then I could just do the engine, lift the body up and do the engine while it's all exposed. I don't have to have issues, you know, getting to the transmission bolts or any of that stuff. So that's good, guys. Heck yeah, things coming along. Okay guys, so the new engine is there, and it looks like he doesn't want this turbo kit because he bought a supercharger for it. So he's actually thankful he's giving me this turbo kit, which is awesome, because I could use it on my Miata. What I'm going to do today is pull this engine out, put that one in, and then after that we should be good to drop the body down. So I decided to do it now because look how easy it is to get to all the transmission bolts and stuff. That's going to be huge. It's going to make things a lot quicker. All I'm going to do is just going to get that little motorcycle jack underneath there, and then undo all that, push this whole section back, hook that up, bring it around here, yeah, and then just do the engine swap on it. No big deal. I'm gonna pull the exhaust off that one just because it'll be easier to get to the steering rack there once it's in. Plus it's gonna give me a lot more room too to kind of work with. So, and then this engine, of course, I'm gonna pull all the sensors and stuff like that off of it, alternator, maybe some of the belts if he wants those, I don't know. But I'll pull all those out, put it in a box just so I could give it back to him. Also, the injectors here are for boost, so I'm giving those ones back to him since he's going to supercharge his other ones. As easy as that. Went pretty smooth. So look at that though. It's like an aftermarket clutch, that's for sure. Pull this flywheel off because we are going to be using this and also this back plate as well on the new engine. I'll do that real quick and then we'll start pulling this engine off. Man, it looks like there was a leak somewhere because there's a lot of gunk and stuff inside this transmission. I'll clean her all up though before I mate her together. I got the engine and stuff together. Now I just dropped the body down on it. Still need to actually set it up correctly. There's a couple bolt holes over here on the frame, the subframe that I need to put in. It's just I'm having a hard time setting it up by myself, so I'm gonna need someone's help. So the owner of this, my buddy Johnny, is gonna come by and help me mate the two here. And after that, it's just throwing some lines on, putting some fluids in there, plugging some connectors in, and it should run. Like I said, I've never done this before, so first start. We got the key?
You got power. No clutch. Ready?
Yep. Oh, nothing, huh?
Nothing.
Yeah, first start. As you can see, we got it running, and what really fought us was the fuel rail. We ended up having to put the other injectors in there because he is eventually going to supercharge this, so we wanted to get the bigger injectors that were off of the NB motor, the old one, and put it on here. But we realized once we were getting ready to start it that there is so the NAs have a return system for the fuel system, so, and the NBs don't. So what we had to do is we could have replaced the fuel tank and then had the correct one in there, because there's some sort of like a regulator inside there in the tank from what I was reading on the NBs. On the NAs, they are a return system. It's going to be a little bit confusing. We stole the regulator, regulator and the fuel rail off the NA engine to put it on this one. And in order for it to fit, we actually turned the regulator 180 degrees so it shot up and over. Okay, so this is the feed line and this is the return line. So we did that. It doesn't look pretty, which he's totally fine with it because it's a drift car. It's gonna get all beat up anyways, so totally fine. But just letting you guys know, there's a little bit of an issue when it comes to the fuel system. So that's how we figured it out. You could have also just put a regulator on the feed line to the rail. That's another way. All kinds of stuff. But that's the way we did it because we already had the parts. Better just do that and get it running. But so I ended up bleeding all the brakes. We ended up, Johnny came back over and we bled the brakes, the clutch. Got these all mounted down, which reminds me I still need to tighten up the rear struts, coils. So got all that ready. Steering column attached there. Got that ready, oil in there. Still need to fill it up with some water because he's got some new hoses that he wants to put on there. So we're just filling up with water just so he could drive it around. And yeah, started working on the top too, putting that back on there. But other than that, guys, I mean, this thing is pretty much done, which I'm excited about because this has been about 2 weeks worth of work here. So it's been a lot of work, totally worth it though, because now we got a little drift slot here. And it's nice because, like I said, he gave me his old turbo kit and some other parts that I'm gonna need for my drift slot, which is right there. That's a Miata right there under all that, so you can see the windshield there. But oh, there's bright seat too. But yeah, it's under all that junk. So that's eventually going to be in here on the lift. I got to pull the head off of it, do some rings and all the other stuff, so there'll be a video on that as well. But as for now, she on them 15s looking pretty. And yeah, let me do those last couple things. I get started and take it on to a test drive. Alright guys, she's all done, so let's get her pulled out. Alright, we're gonna go take her out on a first maiden voyage. So as you can see, this thing is ripping. A couple issues here and there. It's idling a little bit high, and the clutch like instantly grabs. So I don't know if it's just the clutch or it needs adjustment or what, but it's grabbing like right now, which is good. It's grabbing hard too, so that'd be good for when you're clutch kicking. But didn't really get much video in the car because it's a convertible. Can't really talk much in it, but she's looking pretty good, guys. So there she is. Like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. I will see you on the next one.